Welcome to The Explainer. You know, it's a crazy feeling, right? How your phone just seems to know what you're thinking. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that. We're diving deep into something called surveillance capitalism. It's this hidden world where every single click, every like, even where you are physically, is being used to predict and, influence what you do next. We're going to break down how it all began and, more importantly, what it means for all of us.
I mean, we've all been there. You're just talking to a friend about, I don't know, needing a new coffee maker. And bam, suddenly your feed is just one coffee maker ad after another. It's so creepy you think, my phone has to be listening to me. But the truth? It's actually way more sophisticated, and maybe a little more wild than that. It's not just about listening, it's about predicting.
So, no, it's not magic. It's something much more real, a powerful economic engine humming away just behind your screen. And this system, its whole purpose isn't just to know you. It's designed to predict what you're going to do next, and then turn that prediction into profit.
Okay, so how on earth did we get here? Well, to understand that, we have to go back to the early days of Google. They were trying to figure out how to make real money, and in the process, they stumbled onto this completely new, completely untapped natural resource, our digital breadcrumbs. And this idea right here, this is the absolute core of what's called surveillance capitalism. It's basically a whole new kind of economy that takes our private human experiences and treats them like free raw material to be turned into a product. And the really key thing is, this market doesn't just predict what we're going to do, it's designed to actively shape it. So let's rewind to the early 2000s. Google was kind of in a panic. They were in a real race for survival, getting all this pressure from investors to actually become profitable. And so they made a decision that would change everything. They secretly started using all the data they were collecting, not just to make their search results better, but for something way, way more profitable. And what they found was just a gold mine, a treasure trove of what they called behavioral surplus. Think about it. It's all the little digital breadcrumbs we leave behind every time we're online. Every search, every click, every like, every location ping from our phone, it's all the data that's left over, the stuff they don't actually need to make their service better for us. And for advertisers, this stuff was pure gold. And here's what's just mind-boggling: the sheer scope of what they collect. We're not just talking about your search history. We're talking about your emails, your texts, the photos you look at, where you physically are at any given moment, your purchase history. They can even infer your emotional state. It's literally a complete digital portrait of you. And the whole thing is for sale. Right. So they've got all this data, mountains of it. What happens next? I mean, it's not just sitting there on a server somewhere, collecting digital dust. No. It's being actively transformed, manufactured into something completely new, something that can be packaged up, bought, and sold. This is where the real trick happens and where the money is made. All that behavioral surplus we just talked about, that becomes the raw material for what are called prediction products. And what are those? They're basically bets. Highly educated bets made by AI on what you will do, what you will feel, and what you will buy next. And these bets, they're sold to the highest bidder. And you can see the whole supply chain right here. It's actually pretty straightforward when you lay it out. Step 1, our lives, our behavior, it's all turned into data. Step 2, powerful machine intelligence chews through all that data. Step 3, they create these prediction products. Step 4, those products get sold to advertisers. And finally, step 5, our behavior is targeted and influenced. You see, it's a perfect loop. And in this loop, we aren't the customer, we're the raw material. Okay, this right here is probably the most important distinction to understand. In a normal market, right, a company uses data to make a better product or service for you, the customer. You pay them, they give you a thing. Simple. But with surveillance capitalism, that whole relationship is flipped on its head. The service is free because you are not the customer. You are the source of the raw material. The real customers are the other companies who are paying for predictions about you. But wait, it gets even deeper. See, just predicting our behavior isn't actually enough. That's good, but it's not great. To really maximize profits, you need to make sure those predictions actually come true. You need certainty. And that's where this whole thing goes to another level. I mean, think about it. Why would you just predict the future when you could actually guarantee it? The most valuable bets, the most profitable predictions are the ones that are a sure thing. So this creates a whole new drive, a new imperative. It's not enough to just watch us anymore. The goal now is to actively tune us, to herd us, to steer us toward the most profitable outcomes. And this quote from Shoshana Zuboff really just nails it. The means of production now serves the means of behavioral modification. The entire system is being re-engineered to not just predict, but to intervene. It's all about these subtle nudges, these little pushes that shape our behavior, often in ways we don't even notice. It's like having a digital shepherd quietly guiding the flock toward whichever pasture is going to make the most money. Okay, let's look at a real-world example. You remember Pokemon Go, right? Everyone was running around outside, staring at their phones. And on the surface, it was just a fun game. But underneath all that, it was one of the biggest real-world experiments in behavioral modification ever conducted.
Because it wasn't really just about chasing a Pikachu. Businesses, cafes, bars, shops could actually pay to become sponsored locations in the game. Turn their storefront into a Pokestop or a gym. And just like that, millions of players were subtly herded to these specific commercial locations. And the genius of it was that the whole mechanism was completely invisible. It was hidden inside a game that people were choosing to play for fun.
And the results? They were absolutely staggering. Get this. One little pizza place in Queens, New York, saw its sales jump by 70%. 70! All because it paid like $10 to lure Pokemon and, by extension, the players, to its front door. This proved it. This wasn't just a game. This was a proof of concept for an entirely new kind of market. A market in real-world human behavior. And this new kind of power has a name: instrumentarian power. It's not like old-school totalitarianism with threats and force. No, this is much more subtle. It's the power to shape our behavior remotely through the very tools and apps we use every single day. It's how you get to a world where our choices feel like our own, but they've been tuned and conditioned. A sort of predictive purgatory, where every path we take has been gently paved for us. So where does this leave us? I mean, this brings us face to face with some of the biggest questions of our time. What does freedom even mean in a world where we're being constantly watched and nudged? And maybe more importantly, who gets to decide the future?
And it's so important to be clear here. The problem isn't the technology itself. AI isn't inherently evil. The problem is the economic logic that's steering the ship. This specific economic model, surveillance capitalism, it's hungry. It demands more and more data, more and more certainty, and it's designed to just keep growing.
What this creates is a massive, and I mean massive, imbalance of power. They know pretty much everything about us, but their operations, how they do what they do, it's all secret. We know next to nothing about them. It's like we're becoming exiles from our own experience, totally cut off from the knowledge that's being used to direct our own lives. And this quote is just perfect. Demanding privacy from surveillance capitalists is like asking a giraffe to shorten its neck. It's such a powerful way to put it, because it shows why the easy answers don't work. Surveillance isn't some add-on feature you can just toggle off in the settings. It is the business model. It's the whole point. Asking them to stop is like asking them to stop existing. So we're left with this one really fundamental question. When the choices we make are designed to be profitable for someone else, how free are those choices, really? The first, most important step is just this: understanding that these hidden systems exist. Pulling back the curtain is how we begin to reclaim our right to a future that we actually get to decide for ourselves.